Go live. Hey, it's showtime. How are you? How are you? I'm Julie Severko, of course, with Agent to Broker Breakthrough. I help independent agents transition into a boutique brokerage, and I help boutique brokerage owners operate profitably. How about that? We're going into a recession. That's going to be important. Let me tell you, I'm sure you've probably heard the news today about the inflation mark. And I'm just checking real quick here to make sure that my live is live. There we go. Okay, so you've heard the news this morning, 8.6 on the inflation rate. You know, we all need to be buckling down and being very conscious of our spending. That's where I'm going to go with that. Okay. But today we're going to talk to Araminta Self, ask the question whether or not she should stay or should she go. And that was Nicole. And I'll have to get back with you, Nicole, if you're maybe catching this live. You can put comments on here if you need to. Nicole was just calling me on my cell, so I'm sure it was important. My students have access to me. They can call me directly if they need something, just so you know. Okay? All right, so let me just hum and get back to where we were. Today, we're going to talk about, should I stay or should I go? I asked the question in the group, what should we talk about today? So Araminta posted, I am switching over to Keller Williams. Let me get this posted for you real quick here so you can follow with me. Let me drop this out. So she has she's switching over to Keller. She's switching over to Keller Williams because I'm tired of my broker taking 60% of my commission from me. However, am I making the right decision? I want to soon get my broker license, and Keller Williams offers classes. Is this smart, or should I stay the course and take my broker classes? Okay, now, first, let me just kind of stop and reiterate here that Araminta and I have a little bit of a relationship. She is not one of my students, but we do communicate a lot in Messenger. She's in Idaho and I'm in Florida. So I'm just waking up when she's just going to sleep. So we chat a few minutes sometimes in Messenger. And so I know a little bit more about her than probably I would know about just anyone here in the group. Okay. So let me put that out there as well. I wouldn't probably unpack this with someone that I didn't have a little bit of background knowledge of. Okay. So this is, and know that this is a very personal decision, whether you stay or whether you go with the brokerage that you're at. And I'm going to take both angles and I'm going to kind of unpack that because I see that question asked a lot in the larger groups of agents that are, they're maybe not finding their path or not getting footing like they thought they would. And it's sometimes heartbreaking, really, to see agents struggle, and then aren't getting the direction that they need. But coming from a brokerage standpoint, I can see both sides of that coin. Okay. And like I said, everyone is different. So I'm going to convey a few life lessons that I've learned. Okay. And maybe that's going to be something that you're going to resonate with that might be able to help you make a decision. Should you stay or should you go, right? With your existing brokerage. And again, let me reiterate that I work primarily with agents that are poised to get their broker license, that need to formulate their business models and their business plans and make that transition smooth into creating their brand and their new brokerage. Okay, so there's a lot involved with that. That's a huge step. And that isn't for everyone. Okay. So that's the first thing that you have to ask yourself. Financially, am I prepared, to branch off? Or financially, do I need to stay the course? Okay. Now I'm going to reiterate a couple of things that have happened in my lifetime, in the direction that I took, and maybe you can see a little bit of that inside yourself. Okay. So, for example, emotionally, you have to be in a good place. I'm just going to put that right out there. Okay. Maybe because I know some of the struggles that Araminta is dealing with. So that is first and foremost that I want to say to her personally, is that emotionally you have to be in the right place. Okay. So if you're not there, then you probably need to just focus on something that's going to give you some structure. Okay. So in relating that to myself, for example, I'm going to tell you, I had a very turbulent teenagehood. My mother passed away when I was 13 years old. Okay. And, I'm from upstate New York, Italian family, very tight knit. All right. So when the matriarch of the family passes on, I'm going to tell you, sometimes that changes the trajectory of the whole family. Okay. I'm the baby of 8, and I was 13 years old when that happened. I did not handle that well. Okay. That's the truth. I did not handle that well. So my sister, in her infinite wisdom, thank God, relocated me to Portales, New Mexico when I was 15 years old. Now, the point of this whole story, and she saved my life, by the way, but the point of this story is that while I was there that first 30 or 60 days in her home, right, when I was 15 years old, I picked off her bookshelf a book that resonated with me. It was Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm 15 years old. I'm in a brand new town. I'm already, piss and vinegar anyway, because I've been on my own in my mind for the last 2 years, since my mom passed. So there you have it. I pick up this book and it resonated with me. Okay. It changed my life. Okay, so that's a habit that has stayed with me my entire life. Whenever I am going through shit that life throws at you, I have a tendency to dive into books. Okay, so that's where I would start. Araminta, if I were you, and we've had this conversation, I would like for you to dive into some certain books, because you need to get that right first. Okay. And then I'm going to convey another little story for you. When I was in my career, I had left the corporate world already, and I was essentially self-employed as a mortgage broker. When life isn't throwing you a curveball, they're throwing you a hook shot or a different ball. I don't know all of the baseball acronyms, but I know that life can just throw balls at you, right? And there are certain moments in your life when you just know that you need structure, and there are certain moments in your life when you feel stronger, okay? You have to balance that. When I was going through my divorce, I couldn't be self-employed. Before Jake and I got married, and Jake and I have been married 22 years, okay? But I was married 17 years before that to my first husband. That's Tommy's father, okay? When I was going through my divorce, I was self-employed. I knew that I would not be able to focus through that, okay? That was just the reality of the situation. So sometimes in your life, you've got to recognize that I need some structure, and I need some focus, and I need a place where I can just put my head down and work and close everything else out. That's the way I function. Okay. So I don't know about you. You might have had moments in your life when you felt that way as well, when you just need to put your head down and work. That's where I find relief. I don't know about you. All right. But I want to say that when you're in this business, you have connections, you have opportunities. It doesn't matter if it's the mortgage industry, the real estate industry. You could pick up the phone. Right? And call a colleague and have a job the next day. You can make the change the next day, right? So when I was going through that, I knew that's what I needed. I needed that structure. I picked up the phone. I made the change, okay? It would have been easy for me to stay the course, being self-employed, struggling, depressed, not able to function, right? If you've been there, you understand what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That's not a good opportunity to be self-employed unless you've got just a whole world of support around you. All right. But if you don't have that, then you need the structure. Okay. Think about getting that structure in your life. So that's what I did. I picked up the phone. I called a colleague. My girlfriend Robin owned her own mortgage company at the time, and she was banging out the business. She had a specialized niche. She financed pool mortgages for in-ground pools. We're in Florida. We have a big market for in-ground pools. So as soon as you buy a home, or if you've built a brand new home, you are being solicited, of course, by everyone and their mother. And one of those vendors is going to be a pool builder in the state of Florida. So that's what we did. We financed pool mortgages for the construction of pools. Now, she had a bang up business, but she needed some support herself. She needed a workhorse, and that is what I was, a workhorse. I processed probably a pipeline of 150 mortgages. I carried that kind of a pipeline for her, files that I processed. She had to give me my own assistant just to keep up with me, that I can throw stuff at, then keep up with me. So those were the good old days, right, of financing mortgages. But that allowed me to just put my head down and work and make the money I needed to make at the time, because I was by myself, right? But everything comes about, okay? So I want to say that if you're in a rut, if you're in a down situation, if your mindset isn't there, if you're looking at all of the news, if you're watching the news every day, and you are just engulfed in all of this information about our economy, turn it off. I'm going to tell you, just turn it off, because you can't go down that road. You can't worry about things that you don't have control over. You have to make your mind focus on what you do have control over. Okay. And if you have to sit down and just consume self-help books or motivational books until you are blue in the face, then that's what you need to do, right? That's what you need to do. That's the path you need to take, because that's what's going to change up here. Because until this changes up here, you're just going to sit and wallow in your own negativity. And I'm so serious about that. I have been down that path many times, and I have pulled myself out of the abyss more than once. Okay. And, I don't know if you've heard the news, like I started this live with, we're in a recession. I don't know why it's just big, brand new news for some people today, because the stat finally came out. I don't know about you, but I knew this months ago. Okay? It's inevitable. So don't go down this rabbit hole. Don't go down this rabbit hole that we are heading into, just all the things that they're going to throw at us, right? Focus on what's your market and what's in tune with your market. You will thrive in any economy, okay, if you will just simply focus. All right. Now, I'm going to be honest with you right here at this point in time, right? I'm going to be honest with you, it's easier to pivot your business if you are an independent brokerage and you have a brokerage license than it is if you are an agent under someone else's umbrella. Okay, so this is why I advocate. And if you're a broker, you understand your rock stars are gonna move on, don't you? You understand that your rock star agents are going to move on to have their own brokerages. Okay, so I don't want to step on anybody's toes when I advocate for agents to get their broker licenses. There's enough business for all of us. There truly is. And for someone to truly improve upon themselves, if the right time for them in their life is to branch off and have their own brokerage, I would like to think that you, as an independent broker yourself, would give them all of your blessing, and wish them well in their new endeavor. Okay? It doesn't have to be a I'm training my own competition thing, right? And then if you're an agent in a large firm, you don't have much control. You don't have much control over shifting your business. You can build a team, you can specialize in listings, there are certain things you can do to level up your business, but you're limited. You're really limited. And I'm telling you that when we're going to go through this, that we're going to go through inevitably over the next 2 to 5 to 7 years, this stuff doesn't just magically disappear. You can't just shift a whole United States economy on a dime. We're going to be in this rut for a while. Okay, so you have to get that mindset now that you're going to dig into the trenches, because you're going to have to shift your business. It might not be profitable to necessarily focus on working with just buyers. You may have to level up to do more listings and focus on more listings if that's what your market is attuned to, right? You got to know what your market is going to be attuned to. Florida has a very unique market. It's unique to everything else in the United States. It isn't California. It certainly isn't the Midwest. We have our own unique market trends, and so do you, okay? So do you, right? So if you have just experienced a high inflationary increase in your properties, not everyone has. Not all markets have been crazy. I've never seen an offer of $50,000 over my list price. That didn't happen in my market. It didn't happen here in my town. 5, 7, maybe, but certainly not 50,000. I never experienced that. Okay, that's just a small example that we are all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. Okay, so you have to be attuned to your market if you are going to thrive in this. Okay, so again, do I stay or do I go? Right? If you are financially stable and you are a scrappy agent and you're closing $4 or $5 million a year consistently, then you're probably ready to go. Okay, but if you're not in that position, then you probably need to get a little bit more structure. You need to get that element in place before you think about getting your broker license. Now, I always advocate get the course done, right? You got to take the education anyway. Take the course. It'll apply to your continuing ed, or at least it does here in Florida, okay? Take the course. Get the license. By all means, level up your education, because if you got that license under your belt, you can make that decision to leave when necessary or stay if it's good for you. Okay? It may or may not be good for you at the moment, but that's not to say it won't be good for you in the future, because I'm saying is, as an independent broker, you got the ability to transform your business into whatever it needs to be. Whatever it needs to be as an independent broker, right? If you want to start a property management stream of income, you can do that. If you want to start an REO, BPO stream of income, you can do that. I don't recommend an agent build an REO empire when you got to have your broker sign off on everything that you do. You really don't own it. You're building on rented land. You need to be a broker if you're going to build that. Okay. We talked about that last week. All right. So, all kinds. If you just want a transaction coordination business, you can have that. I streamlined short sales. I was the first brokerage in my county to figure out what a short sale was the last recession. Okay. But if I was under someone else's umbrella, that might not have happened. It might not have transpired. I was ahead of the game a year and a half before everyone else in my market knew what the hell to do with a short sale. And that's the God's honest truth, right? We dominated the market then, right? These are things that you have in your tool belt when you have an independent brokerage license, all right? But before you get there, you got to have it up here. It's got to be here, or you're going to just continue to struggle. You are just going to continue to struggle, okay? So, you know what I mean? Everyone's going to be different. No one is going to have the same answer to this question. So I'm sorry I couldn't probably nail something down for someone specifically, because everyone is going to have a different set of circumstances and everyone's going to be in a different place in their life, So if you need help unpacking that, drop in my messenger. I'm always available. Okay. All right. So I see some comments out there. Thank you. Yeah. I didn't know my backstory. Let me tell you what, we have all got a backstory. We have all got a backstory, and we can all write a book, on the shit that we have been through. I'm serious. If you would just think about the decisions that you've made, that's how you learn. That probably wasn't a good choice. Or, God, I'm glad I did that, right? That's what wisdom is, right? That's where wisdom comes from. Unfortunately, you have to be close to 60 years old before you realize it, right? Anyway, I hope that I spoke to somebody who's on the fence. I speak to a lot of agents, a lot of productive agents that are on the fence. I love my broker. I'm with an independent broker now. I love my broker, or maybe we've talked about me buying the brokerage or taking over the brokerage. That's good too. I mean, it's all good, but make sure that you're taking the right course and you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. I'll tell you a little story. I coach an agent. She's been with me a long time. She hasn't gotten her broker license yet, but she manages 2 brokerages. All right. She manages 2 brokerages. She loves her broker, but wouldn't it be nice if you got your broker license and then you approached that broker for the partnership, right? Because otherwise you may find yourself sitting there with all your eggs in one basket, and anything can happen. Anything can happen. Okay. That broker may downsize. That broker may change directions, go a different way, retire, pass away. That's a possibility too. Okay. These are all possibilities when you're hanging your license with another broker. That's just our business. It's not a big deal, right? You can hang your license in the next shop. That's the beauty of our business, isn't it? All right. But, you got to know that every time you change shingles, every time you hang your license someplace else, you lose traction. You lose contacts. You lose pieces of your business every time you make a change. So should you stay or should you go is something that you have to decide for yourself, and understand that the resources that you need to make that change are going to be maybe something you haven't planned for. How do you make that smooth? How do you bring your brand over? How do you introduce your clients to the new brokerage? Are you, jumping from the frying pan into the fire, right? Especially if you're sitting there thinking your brokerage owes you something. I can't tell you how many times I see agents jumping ship because they're not getting any leads from their brokerage. Okay? That's you. That's on you. Your business, your leads, it's on you. Jumping ship to another brokerage will help temporarily. Maybe you might learn something new, but you're not going to learn anything that you can't learn someplace else. Okay? There you go, Tira. Starting over, on your own was hard, right? She left her prior broker because he didn't want me to grow. Well, there's going to be those brokers out there that have a business model that is dependent upon agent production. Okay? That's their one and only business model. Then put a light bulb on them, okay? If you're working at a brokerage and their only business model is a sales force, that's how they depend on their business. They're not going to want you to grow, okay? Because then you're going to leave, So they want you to be that cog in the wheel and, just muddle along. I've seen it. Okay, I've seen it. I've interviewed agents that have come to me that have told me their stories. And I see it every day in Facebook groups. Don't you? Right? You know what I mean? Another Facebook user. For me, I switched from one brokerage to another. I can't get my license yet, but switching, I instantly saved $1,500 a month. Yeah. You got to look at that because sometimes the change is, you have to embrace the change. You really do have to embrace the change. Change is going to be scary. It'll be scary. But I can tell you, every time I've made the jump or the change, it has always worked out for the best. Like, for example, when I left the corporate world and I was working with my girlfriend, Robin, that was right when I was self-employed and then went through my divorce, and I'm at Robin's mortgage company, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself now. It's probably about 4 years. I've been separated 4 years. I started feeling better about myself, and I was like, okay, it's time to get up, girl. It's time to get up, So I approached Robin to open a franchise for her mortgage company in another county. And that we kind of started that, and I ended up getting a private investor to back me, opening my own mortgage company without a franchise fee. Okay, so that's kind of what happened. When I came out of my fog, I made that jump because that was my security blanket, right? I made that jump and I opened up my own brokerage office. Now, God works in mysterious ways, doesn't he? Doesn't he? I'm opening my own brokerage office and I call it Copytronics. I need to purchase a copier. It's 1999, right? Guess who my copier salesman was? My husband, Jake. That's how we met. I wasn't even divorced yet. My divorce hadn't even been final yet. We were separated for 4 years. We're just kind of you know what I mean? And I met Jake, and we probably dated for a year while I was still married. I don't even think I got my divorce final until probably 3 months before our wedding was scheduled to happen. That summer before we got married in November is when I finally finalized my divorce from Rob. So everything works in mysterious ways. When I was ready to come out of my fog, I came out of my fog, right? And then I was ready to get scrappy again. Okay? You got to have that scrappiness when you're self-employed, because you can't sit around and muddle around and worry about what the economy is going to do or how this is going to go down or what's going to happen there. When you are self-employed brokerage owner, you got to think outside the box, and you have the tools to do so. You really do. Okay? All right. Well, I think I've just kind of muddled along way too much. And if anybody's got any more or any stories they want to share, go ahead and put them in the comments for me now. I think I've babbled enough. I hope that maybe something has resonated with you, but just know that everybody's got the same baggage. Okay. So just have some heart, that everything in life is only temporary. Everything in life is only temporary. And, the decisions that you make is what are going to define you. And if you need help making decisions, talk with someone who will help you unpack it, not someone that's going to tell you what to do or how to do it, because only you can make that decision. But it's always helpful, even if it takes a bottle of wine and a girlfriend, right, to unpack something and just take a good hard look at it. Where am I? What am I doing? How am I going to do this? How am I going to move forward? Okay. Move forward, never backwards. Okay. Even if you go slow, you're never going backwards. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go and hit me up. I'm always available in Messenger if you need something. Okay. And if you need some coaching, don't hesitate. I coach. I make it very affordable, and I'm the most accessible coach you'll ever encounter. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.